Alright, I kid you not, I've tried to make this video like 60 times and it keeps getting interrupted. I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet to avoid the potential of it getting interrupted if it goes long. This is going to be a review, recommendation, mainly a recommendation. Do I recommend USA Truck? Yes and no. If you have less than 1 year of experience, I recommend USA Truck. If you have more than 1 year of experience, I do not recommend USA Truck. And all that boils down to is pay. I think that they are competitive with other companies that hire with less than a year of experience as far as pay is concerned. I don't think they're very competitive with companies that require more than 1 year of experience. Now, if you have some reason, preventables, your driving record, your criminal record, whatever the reason may be, if you can't get on with those companies that pay like 60, 70, 80 cents a mile, if you have, a year or more of experience, then USA Truck may be a good option for you. The only reason I don't recommend them if you have more than a year of experience is because you can make a lot more money elsewhere. But if you can't, then they're a good company. Me personally, I've been treated with respect. I've been treated like a professional. And I really, I complain a lot. I have a lot of negative things that I say in my videos. If you want to hear, negative stuff, watch all my other videos. Almost every video I make on USA Truck's negative. It's just me bitching and complaining about stuff. But a lot of that stuff I complain about are things that you're going to deal with at other companies. Just as soon as I get a hill where I can pass this slow truck, because he's covering like a mile an hour slower than me and he's heavy, I have a line of cars passing me to where I can't pass. The traffic, I don't know if they lifted, I haven't watched the news today, so I don't know if they've lifted the lockdown, but, my God. Come on, hurry the hell up, cars. Thanks a lot, asshole. I put my indicator on. He didn't speed up. He didn't let me over. He just slowed down and hung out in the left-hand lane. Now we're basically over the top of the hill, and this guy's getting back up to speed. There was a Camaro that let me over. I feel bad for the Camaro now because this asshole's back up to speed. Now this video is interrupted. I'm sorry. They keep getting interrupted because I have to focus on driving. That is my primary concern, is, my safety and the safety of everybody else on the road. So, I forgot what I was talking about. We'll get back to it in a minute. Okay, this hill is good enough that this guy slowed down quite a bit on it. Yeah, there's a second half to the hill. I made it around him. Yay, thank you, Camaro. I really appreciate you. Hopefully this guy doesn't throw it down into Georgia Overdrive and try to race me down the hill, because he's heavier. I won't be able to go down the hill anywhere near as fast as him, and I won't. Okay, that wasn't too bad of an interruption. We're going to keep rolling. So I think I already gave my recommendation. 1 year, less than a year, yes. More than a year, no. I've been treated well here. Almost all my videos are negative, but it's not really that bad. And the things that I dislike are things that other people are probably not going to have a problem with. Let's take this for example. Most of my complaints with USA Truck have to do with sitting around doing nothing. I hate sitting around waiting on a load. I hate sitting around waiting to do a pickup. I hate sitting around waiting to make a delivery. Stop giving me loads that have an extra day to deliver, or an extra day to pick up, or both. Or, start giving me pre-plans so I have a load after I make the delivery, before I make the delivery, so that I can just immediately take off as soon as I get done and go to my next place instead of sitting around waiting, burning up my 14-hour clock. Those are the kind of things that really upset me because I'm out here to make money. I'm not out here for funsies. But there are a lot of people in this industry that they hear that they get an extra day on a load, they get an extra day on the pickup, they get to sit around and wait an extra 6 to 8 hours at the truck stop while they're waiting to get a load assigned to them. They hear that kind of stuff and they get excited. That's a positive for them. They love hanging out in the truck and making $600, $800 a week. I don't. I want to be running hard and making $1,500 a week. You know, I'll play video games on my 34. If I don't get to play a video game for a single minute all week long while I'm in this truck, I don't mind, as long as I'm, you know, running hard, making money doing it. But, you know, I'll play video games when I'm on my 34 at home. But that's me. That's not everybody. And that's the majority of my complaints with USA Truck. And a lot of that is not them. A lot of that is the Wuhan virus, you know, fucking China, that shithole back-assward third world country that keeps producing diseases. SARS, MERS, I think MERS, even though it's called Middle East Respiratory System, pretty sure that one still originated in China. The African swine flu supposedly also, like, tons and tons of diseases originate in China because they still eat wild animals. They bring in wild animals into these food markets, these wet markets, and they have these wild animals right next to food. And it's they have very poor, I'm going off topic way, they have poor hygiene. Hand washing is not a common thing in China, and they'll sit there and handle live animals, and then they'll pick up like meat and, you know, look at it and set it down, right? Like, so that's the kind of nasty third world crap you have going on in China. And the whole world is suffering because of how... Anyway, enough of that. Yeah, so the negatives, and you don't want to watch negative stuff, watch all my other videos. I'm treated with respect. I'm treated professionally. Everyone is really nice to me. Rodney in maintenance, I think he's one of the head people in maintenance. He sends me messages asking for my odometer reading because my thing is not recording the odometer reading like it's supposed to. And I replied back to him and I was like, why are you spamming me with this stuff? I've sent that odometer reading several times. I was like, and I thought it was actually a computer automatically sending that crap. And he replied back and he was like, sorry, you can call my number if you want and talk with me about it. And I called him. And he was really, really awesome. He was really nice. He thanked me for, you know, getting out here and working for the company, and he thanked me for working through these hard times and, you know, being on the front lines of this virus and all this stuff. He was a really nice guy. He explained to me the history of this truck and like some things that they're planning on doing, and like there's to correct the issue with the odometer not being reported. Like, he was super awesome. Talked to me like a peer, and he's, I think, really high up in the company. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just a regular maintenance person. Maybe he's just a grunt like me. Who knows? Maybe he's an executive. Who knows? But everyone I've dealt with has been really nice. They've been professional. Roadside, whenever I deal with them, they don't dictate to me what's going to happen. They ask me what I want to do. What am I willing to do? What is safe? You know, like, I had a truck in the shop at a Love's with a missing mud flap, and I had a marker light out. You know, that's one of the negatives about the company is you pick up a lot of trailers that need to be put in the shop because there's a lot of bad drivers here that don't properly inspect, and they don't put stuff into the shop whenever they find something wrong in an inspection. So if you do proper inspections and you're not willing to drive with equipment that will get you, a DOT violation, which it's not worth it. Don't mess up your record. It goes against you and it goes against the company. And if you keep doing that stupid crap, then you'll get to a point where you're non-hireable in the industry. Your record will get so bad that you'll get fired and no one will hire you. Don't do that stupid crap. But we have a lot of people at this company that do that stupid crap. So I'm constantly in the shop with trailers. And I was in the shop with this trailer. I drove it about a mile or two from the shipper. It was a Walmart distribution centers where I picked the trailer up. It was empty. I dropped a load and picked up an empty. And I drove it to a Love's about a mile or two away. And the shop was, they didn't have a mechanic on duty. They weren't going to have a mechanic on duty for another day or more. They didn't know when they were going to have a mechanic on duty again. What a dick. I hate it when people they try to push other people out of the way. They'll run up on them real aggressive. That guy got within inches of the person's bumper. He was going really fast. Now he's not going that fast. He got him out of his way. He's going a reasonable speed. Maybe 75 and a 70, something like that. But he rolled up on him at about 90. But in that situation, they asked me how far I would be willing to drive it, if at all, to get it fixed that night instead of having to wait until in the morning, or that day instead of having to wait until the next day. And I said, well, if you could find something within about 5 miles, roughly, I would be willing to drive it about 5 miles, but not much more than about 5 miles. And he said, all right, let me see what I can find. He came back and he said the nearest place is 25 miles away. And I said, nah, that's just too far. And he didn't even ask me why or anything. He's like, all right, so I guess we'll just have to wait until the mechanic comes on duty at this place tomorrow, hopefully. I was like, yep. And the mechanic came on duty 8 a.m. the next day. Or I forgot exactly when. I think it was 8 a.m. And I ended up getting it fixed. But if it was just a marker light, then yeah, I would have driven it that 25 miles. But a mud flap to me is a serious safety issue. Those mud flaps are there to keep rocks from killing people. I mean, they're not going to stop a huge rock that gets stuck between the duals, but it is a big safety issue, and they can stop the smaller rocks, which can still cause a lot of damage and can potentially kill somebody. So a marker light, not a huge safety issue for me, because there are other reflectors and lights there as backups. But a missing mud flap, that's too big of a safety issue for me personally to drive the truck 25 miles. That's like driving on a flat for a long period of time. That a flat tire can shred at any moment, and those are really dangerous whenever they shred and come off like that. They can cause accidents. So blowouts happen, but it's stupid to drive on a flat, because the likelihood of that thing shredding and causing damage or an accident is just too absurdly high to risk it. But anyway, that's just an example of, I haven't been pressured into doing anything unsafe. And they don't really even dictate to me what to do. They ask me what I want to do on roadside. So that's the type of being treated like an adult, being treated like a professional I'm talking about. Everything here is fairly reasonable. Like I said, I don't really like the insurance stuff, but they do that to reduce their insurance. The all the camera systems and the collision avoidance systems and locking down the ELD, all of the ridiculous stuff that I can't really stand. That's insurance crap. They're doing it for insurance. Why would they spend as much money as they spend putting these cameras in if they weren't getting anything out of it? Like, they don't put them in here just to annoy the hell out of us. They put them in here to get an insurance discount. The insurance discount is bigger than the amount of money that they're spending on the cameras. It's I don't know what to say, but I'm happy here. I'm always looking for something better. I'm not tied to this company. They're not doing anything so awesome that if something better came along, I wouldn't leave them. But I'm on a path here to get into a lease, and I'm happy personally. And for anyone else that their path is to get into a lease or become an owner-operator, I think this is a good path to do that. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you want to lease with a company, to get on with a company that has a load board and that has a lease program where you're not tied to them with the truck. With USA Truck, you're not going to be tied to them with the truck. With somebody like Prime, you're tied to Prime with that truck. You cannot leave Prime with that truck. If Prime fires you or you quit, if for whatever reason you end your business relationship with Prime, you lose your lease. You lose all the money you put into your lease, all that money, that bonus that you're going to get at the end of the lease, or that's going towards your lease purchase or whatever. Some of that money you may get back. Some of that is escrow, like your maintenance account. Maybe you'll get that back. I don't know the exact lease terms, but you're not going to keep the truck. You can't move the truck to another company with Prime. With USA Truck, they don't, they're a lease company as far as you're leasing on under their authority. They are not a lease company that helps you buy a truck. They have places that they recommend for you to use, and that they have business relationships, but you can go anywhere to get a truck and lease with USA. They don't restrict you. I highly recommend that you go with a company where if something happens, you can take that truck somewhere else. You're not going to lose everything you put into that truck. And another positive is USA Truck doesn't have ridiculous requirements like a place like Prime, where you basically have to buy a brand new truck. I think with Prime, it has to be 3 model years or newer. That means you're going into an incredible amount of debt. Your week
Head southeast on I-40 East.
Or your monthly fixed costs or whatever are going to be crazy high getting a new truck like that. And with USA Truck, I'm planning on getting like a $30,000-$40,000 truck, and to keep my cost as low as possible so I can build up maintenance accounts and save up money, because that's one of the biggest things that's going to kill a small business, is having some type of critical issue and you do not have savings set aside. You are not going to be comfortable as a business owner until you have enough money set aside that you can survive some type of issue occurring. So keep your fixed costs down. Lease with a company that will allow you to put money away. Not some company where you're going to be scraping by until you pay the truck off. Those are my recommendations. What's my other big one? Percentage. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you lease with a company that pays percentage. USA Truck meets all of these things. These are really big things on why I decided to come with USA Truck. Percentage, if you break down, you do the math, go look at load boards, and look at the flat rate pay that companies are paying on leases and compare all of that. Break it all down to a mileage rate. Figure out all your costs. Figure out all that stuff. And whenever you compare it all, I think that you're going to find that you're going to make a lot more money on percentage, even at a low rate of 65% like USA Truck. That's a fairly ballpark standard rate. It's kind of toward the low end. It's about the lowest that you'll see is 65%. But it's still better than the mileage, the flat rate mileage. I have not seen a flat rate mileage that is comparable to even the worst percentage pay. There may be some flat rate mileage programs out there that are decent. I haven't found one. So those are my big things. If you're looking to get into a lease, I couldn't find a better company than USA Truck. Also, the minimum experience requirement at USA Truck is really low. Right now, they're doing it on a case-by-case basis. They have not come up with a set rule. It used to be a 9-month requirement. Now, they're letting me lease after about 4 months total experience. They want me to have 90 days solo before I lease. So they're doing it on a case-by-case basis right now, but they're probably going to come up with a set rule at some point. The reason they changed is because they changed insurance providers. The 9-month requirement previously was set by the insurance company. Their new insurance doesn't have an experience requirement, so they get to make up their own rules now. So they haven't made up their own rule because they just switched insurance. They haven't had to deal with this before. They just had a 9-month insurance requirement before. So USA Truck was the best option I could find for getting into a lease as quickly as possible. Now there are other companies like Stevens and Prime where you can get into a lease as soon as you get out of training, but there are other negatives to them that I don't think it's a good place to be. You're not going to be in a really good position to be successful. I think USA Truck's lease program is the best place to be successful for a new lease as a new driver. If I had a year or more of experience, then I would definitely go with Landstar over USA Truck. I actually plan on leaving USA Truck and going to Landstar once they'll hire me. So I'm probably only going to be leased on with USA Truck for 6 months to a year. Once Landstar will take me, I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to hit the bricks. Because Landstar, they do the same 65% that USA Truck does, but their rates are a lot better. Like a standard rate before the 65% cut, a standard rate that you can get. Now this is not including fuel surcharge. A lot of people are going to talk whenever they say what their rate per mile is that they're getting, they're going to include fuel surcharge. So add in about 30 cents a mile to the rate that I'm going to tell you, and you get 100% of fuel surcharge. Any company that tries to take your fuel surcharge from you as an owner-operator, don't work for them. That's shady as fuck. They're not paying for any of the fuel. They shouldn't take any of the fuel money from you. That's a huge, huge, huge red flag. Big red flag. Don't do that. But $1.90 a mile is a really solid load that you can get out of a decent freight market. Atlanta is a place where you can get $1.90 a mile loads. Like, it's not too hard to get something for $1.90 a mile out of Atlanta. There are higher freight areas where you can get like $2.30 a mile up in Ohio and Illinois and New York, the Northeast, the deep Northeast up there. Those places, about the top that you're going to get at USA Truck is like $3 and what is it? About $3.30 or $3.50 a mile is about the best you're possibly going to get at USA Truck. Those are the premium loads in the high demand freight areas. Now I need to redo the number I told you on $1.90 a mile. The $1.90 was after the 65%. After USA Truck takes their 35%. So I'm trying to remember what the numbers were before they take their cut. So it was like, I remember it was $2.25 or $2.26 a mile in the Ohio, the really good freight areas, after the cut, which I think was about $3.50 a mile before the cut. $3.30 to right around $3 to $3.30 a mile was the best stuff that I could find on USA Truck's load board. And the average stuff that I found on their board was like, oh man, what would it be? It would be around $2.70 a mile. Would get you $1.90 after the 35% cut, I think. $2.60, $2.70 a mile. That was like their, if you're in a decent freight market, a pretty good freight market, not the best, not the worst, but like average freight market, like Atlanta, it was like $2.50 to $2.70 a mile, somewhere in that area. Compare that to Landstar. Landstar's like middle of the road freight was like USA Truck's best stuff. You can get the stuff that is like $3.50 a mile all over the place. I'm talking about what it's paying per mile before they take their cut out of it. You can get those loads all over the place at Landstar. At USA Truck, you cannot get those loads all over the place. They're only in the top freight areas, and they're not very common. So it would be very difficult to average more. Like what I estimated I could average at USA Truck was about $1.70 a mile, including fuel surcharge. At Landstar, I think I can easily average over $2 a mile, including fuel surcharge. And I think the $3.50 per mile, I'm not sure if that included fuel surcharge with Landstar. There's a bunch of Landstar drivers that will just go through the load boards, and that's where I'm getting my information from. And they're searching based on like minimum price, rate per mile. And I'm not sure if the rate per mile listed on USA Truck's load board includes a fuel surcharge or not. But it doesn't matter. It's still a lot more. The USA Truck, the rates that I was telling you included fuel surcharge. So like the $2.70 a mile is actually like $2.40 a mile, and the $3 to $3.30 mile was actually $2.70 to $3 a mile. Because I included fuel surcharge whenever I was doing all of my stuff. So the rate per mile that I think I can average at USA Truck before fuel surcharge is somewhere around $1.40 a mile, and then add in fuel surcharge on top of that, which whenever you compare that to the flat rate mileage companies, a lot of them pay anywhere from $1 to $1.10 or $1.15 flat rate, and then fuel surcharge on top of that. Well, the rate that I'm getting before fuel surcharge, that I'm estimating that I'll be getting, is $1.40 a mile. So it's a big difference. Like 30 cents a mile is kind of huge. That's the reason I'm saying that stay away from the flat rate mile companies on the lease programs. None of them make sense to me. None of them mathematically, whenever you start crunching numbers and all that stuff, none of them add up. Whenever I start crunching numbers on those flat rate mileage companies, and figuring out my fixed costs and like how much I'm actually going to make, it starts coming out to where what I'm making after all expenses is about what a company driver makes, like 40 cents a mile. So those are the lease programs that give lease programs a bad reputation, because at the end of the day, you're making very much what a company driver makes. And then if you have any unexpected expenses, now you're making less than a company driver. And that's the reason a lot of these leases fail, in my opinion, is because these people aren't really doing the math on all the program and figuring it out. And then, later on down the road, whenever all their expenses are coming out, maybe they're not paying taxes until the end of the year. And then it comes time to pay up all their taxes, and they've been living like they have, they don't owe taxes. So they think they're making more money because they're not paying taxes right then on their money, because they're an independent contractor. There are a lot of things. There's a facade. There are a lot of reasons why people that are under lease programs think they're making more money than they actually are. But most of them seem to fail because a lot of people under these leases don't really understand what they're getting into. So I highly recommend USA Truck as a starter company if you're wanting to get into a lease program. They are the best option for a lease that I found for a new driver. And then I don't really recommend them for somebody with experience. Again, there are better lease companies like Landstar if you have experience. There are better company driver positions if you have experience. But if for whatever reason you're in a situation where those options aren't available to you, take a look at USA Truck. I think they're an awesome company. The only negative to them is pay. That's the only big negative that I have with them. And I think their pay is reasonable if you have less than 1 year of experience. So that's my review and recommendations on USA Truck. And I better end this before this video gets interrupted, because I kid you not, I've tried like 60 attempts to make this video. I have so many partial videos that I need to delete once I get stopped. I'm going to spend 10 minutes deleting videos. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.